Hi, everybody. Welcome back and happy Friday. All right. Okay, guys. So, it's Friday. Jason and I are getting ready to move. So, it's been absolutely insane. I think we're both exhausted. We just got back from Hilton Head. I've been sharing a lot of this with you guys, but yeah, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. But it's our fourth move in a year and a half. So, as you guys can tell, we're just a little tired from it. I don't even know. And people ask, why do you keep doing this to yourselves? And it's like we're gypsies. We don't know where we want to be, and we keep moving until we figure it out. So, with that, we are back to talk about hot, messy topics with Imani from Taste of Reality. No Ashley today, but Imani's really fun to me because they have two totally different perspectives on things. I'm sure sometimes they do agree, but a lot of times I feel like I get two different viewpoints, and I really love that. So we're gonna go through a lot of topics today. Let's welcome Imani from Taste of Reality. Smash the like button, show some love, and let's go. Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday.
How are you?
I'm good. I was running a little bit late today. So I'm in a little bit of that frazzled state when you are running late to something, but I'm so excited for today's hot, messy topics. I feel like there's so much to discuss.
I think that you know what's so funny is Ashley was telling me a little bit about like what you guys have going on, and then like also in your professional lives and how
Mhm.
you're maneuvering and you're putting more focus onto different businesses, and right? So
Yeah.
I think it's so exciting because it's just fun to see what you guys do. I love going to tasteofreality.com. I love seeing what you guys put out. A lot of times I'll do my stories based off of what you guys put out. So you
Mhm.
guys are killing it. And it's fun to
Oh,
have
thank
both of
you.
you on. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
it's been a little bit difficult on Ashley and I because and Adam, I know you can relate to this when you are a small but mighty team. And there's a lot of things to possibly churn out and talk about and put out. And I can say it now, but I worked for Habitat for Humanity locally where I live in Florida. And so I was navigating that and working with Taste of Reality. So it's been difficult to juggle both, especially when I was in an office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I was trying to double dip over here while also doing this. So it was
Yeah.
difficult. But yesterday was my official last day with Habitat for Humanity. So I am now full on Taste of Reality. There's something else I'm also doing remote, but still, like, I have so much more time now. So I'm so excited to be full time now. Taste of Reality, putting all our energy and efforts there. So I'm super pumped.
Yeah. And I think that there's so many other ways that you guys can branch off now that you're available. Like you're
Mhm.
going to have this new level of availability, but
Yes.
I'm excited to watch everything. And as you always know, if you ever have a question or need help or want me to be a part of anything that you do, I'm always here to support.
And we appreciate that. And likewise, we're always happy to come on the show. And hopefully, we can do more things together in the new year. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of the new year, I think that there's a few people on this lineup for today's stories that probably cannot wait for it to be a new year, except for Karen Huger because she's going to be getting sentenced in January. I'm so sorry, Karen. Um, guys, I don't even know if I need to play the videos for you, but I will play a video or two. Amani, Karen Huger being arrested for her second DUI, then having to she didn't have to go to trial. She chose to go to trial, knowing that these videos existed. There's over 30 minutes of videos where she is talking about being the concubine,
Yeah.
which I can't say that word on here, but like I'm hoping YouTube didn't pick it up of Thomas Jefferson.
I just have so many questions, and like I'm not into law at all. I took one media literacy class when I was in college for law, but my question is, why go that route when you know those videos exist and go to trial? Like I'm confused on the rationale there.
They, you know what's wild to me is, especially like your business partner Ashley, um, who I would like to say you and Ashley are friends. So my friend, your business partner and
We
friend.
are friends.
Yeah, we're friends. Um, for Ashley, I know that Ashley got offended when Seth Marks said, How about that? Booyah, biatch, or whatever he said with the text, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she would get offended about. Does this make sense? Do you know where I'm going with this?
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm excited to know.
Wait.
What?
I forgot what I was talking about right before that.
Um, we were talking about, I said, why would Karen choose to go the trial route when she knows those videos exist?
Okay. So, thank you. So
Mhm.
what I was going to say is for Karen going into this knowing that the videos exist, why would you actually try to go to trial? I forgot what the reference was going to be. I'll think of it in a minute, don't worry. But
Okay.
this part did not make sense to me, especially when don't they let you know that before you go to trial? Don't they let you know like, hey, there is a discovery phase. There
Yeah.
is, right? Like, so you know that this is going to play out.
Correct. So I'm so confused why she didn't just take the guilty plea. I don't remember what exactly she would have been charged in terms of like sentencing and all that, but
Yeah.
it just is such a bad look. And I'm so curious. Do you think she's going to go to the reunion? I imagine maybe Bravo wouldn't even want her there, but I feel like the audience absolutely would want her there, especially. Imagine the ratings. Mia would be on her neck.
Well, I also think that one, she's not going to get fired because it doesn't really make sense for her to get fired, even though that, she is acting out. They're
Mhm.
not going to fire her. One, they didn't fire Luann, and Luann went into somebody else's hotel room in
True.
Palm Beach, got out of handcuffs, told the
Yeah.
cop that she was going to kill them, did all of these things. So they're not going to go over to Karen Huger, who said, "Excuse me, I am talking to my husband, and what you're not going to do is talk to me. And I am the Grand Dame." And the officer being like, "Okay, we're done with you. We're going to handcuff you." She didn't do anything aggressive. She wasn't violent. She was just, I don't know. I think everybody was just wondering what the hell she was talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody understood her, but you're not Bravo. It's not going to happen. If they fired Karen Huger for acting out and getting a DUI, there would be a lot of pushback for it.
Well, and they, even if they should, they literally cannot from just the court of public opinion. I mean, someone brought it up in the comment section. Shannon Bedore literally hit a house. So if they actually laid the hammer down on Karen, who is on one of the only mainly predominantly ethnic casts, that would be just horrible from a PR perspective for Bravo. Considering, to your point, Luann wasn't fired. Well,
And that's what I was going to say. And I was almost afraid to say it, but I don't want to be afraid to say it because I think it's a real thing. I think that you can't fire Karen, who is the only Black cast member who is an offender of a DUI, whereas
correct.
like all of the other ones on Bravo have been white cast members and none of them have been fired for it. So then if you fired Karen, that would be highly problematic.
It would be so problematic, especially on the heels. Granted, Bethany's reality reckoning didn't really go anywhere. Leah McSweeney's thing didn't really go anywhere. Brandy, people, like swat her away like a gnat. Like, it would just be so bad PR wise for Bravo if they did anything to Karen. Like, they just can't do it. Like even if they should, they cannot course correct on this one. They have to, let Karen come to the reunion. Will Karen want to? I don't know, because the ladies are gonna fry her up.
She's gonna have to go with such humility and be like, "Go ahead, guys."
She's gonna need to take the Shannon Bedore route, like we've talked about before. When she came into the season, she completely fell on her sword to Gina. Gina was probably sitting on ready, had so much to say to her, but like she came in so humbled. And that went a long way with Gina and the rest of the cast, minus Tamara and a few. So that's the approach Karen needs to take, is to just be like, yeah, I messed up.
Especially when you're watching the beginning of the season, where not only with the shady deer coming in as if it were the deer, which it could be a deer, like we don't know. We didn't see it.
Yeah.
But the deer, but then from that, like her being like, "Listen, I'm going to need you guys to back me up and be a friend. And I'm going to watch and see which one of you guys are my friends in this difficult time of mine.
Exactly.
See which one backs me. And it's like, now watching the video, I wouldn't back your ass. Like, it's
Same.
okay if anybody is actually a friend, in my opinion, if I'm your friend, I'm gonna say to you, hey, listen,
Yeah.
not the best look. This one didn't. We didn't
Yeah.
land the plane on this one. This one's really,
No.
really bad. So we need to go in and probably be a little bit more apologetic on this one.
Exactly.
That's what a friend would say.
100%. I'd be like, Karen, this is not good. You messed
Yeah.
up. You have money. You are married to the Black Bill Gates at your own admission. There's no reason why you should not have Ubered. There's no reason why you shouldn't have been driven. I'm pretty sure she has had a driver in past seasons. So there's really no excuse for this. So she just needs to come out, make us just fall on her sword and be very humbled by it. I doubt she will, because whoever's advising her doesn't seem to be the best, because I would have encouraged her to plead guilty. But
Yeah.
alas.
Well, and also real quick before we move on from Potomac, I think for Karen, again, I don't want to see her fired for anything, but I do think that if she is listening, and you never know who is listening, but if you are listening, Karen, dude, you have to go in completely like, man, I effed up, because you didn't know what was going to air. So you really stuck to it. And now it aired. And you didn't know that they were going to air this body cam footage, but it did. And it made its way out there. Now it's embarrassing. And now you just have to be like, you know what? I effed up. And then nobody can say shit. Nobody.
No,
they can't say anything because you're like, I did it.
Yeah, 100%. And also, again, this is me just speaking from a PR perspective and just how to flip this and try to help her public image a little bit. I feel like if you have a parent that dies, you can use that. I haven't had that, thank God, but I feel like you can use that card a little bit. So I would also advise Karen to just say, I'm having a really, really difficult time having lost my mom. And I'm not understanding how to handle it. And I'm drinking a lot. And that's how I cope and how I get up in the morning. And I made a horrible decision, and I got behind the wheel of a car, and I am deeply remorseful. And I'm learning from this, and I will own and I will take all the stuff you're putting on me. But this is where I'm at.
I completely agree with you, because, you know, I've compared this multiple times, and it's not the same thing, but I do feel like both are an abuse of the judicial system or emergency services or some part of the system. I think that the Zolciak Bierman crew calling the police every 5 minutes is like, okay, you guys, like, we cannot keep doing this. This is 9 times. You know what I mean?
Agreed. They're a whole other case. I'm like, they need to do something.
Right. And then going over to Karen Huger and having her defense team argue after the guilty verdict came out, saying, you know, like, we feel like this was an unjust in the judicial system. It's like, no,
it wasn't.
That's not an unjust in the judicial system. She was obviously driving drunk. She hit a tree. We're happy and thankful and grateful that she is okay. But she told you she was lit in the video. And then she also said she was blackout. She said multiple other things.
Yeah, she did.
It's like, I don't think that there's an argument. I think that's why a 2-day trial ended up being a 1-day trial. Exactly. I think it was just like, here is the video. Here's 30 minutes of the video. Jury, please go make your deliberation or whatever, and let us know if you think said housewife of Potomac was in fact inebriated with her wig like this.
Okay? Agreed. I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, I think Karen should be held responsible. And I think the sentencing is, whatever it will be, is fair, whatever it is, because she could have really hurt herself, hurt others around her. And yeah, that's tough. Yeah. But don't get behind the wheel, I guess, when you're that obliterated.
Well, I agree with that. Speaking of somebody who got behind the wheel when they were inebriated, we're going to leave Shannon Bedore out of this. But her ex's new fiance, Alexis Bellino, has made her way onto the social media feeds today. Like, I don't even know. I wouldn't call it like like a main headline. I don't think it's really, I mean, maybe on page 6 at what Alexis Bellino announced, you guys, that she is not returning to the Real Housewives of Orange County. If you guys don't remember, she was on from seasons 5 to 8 as a full-time cast member, and then season 18 as a friend of. I don't know why she would have thought that she would have been asked back, but Imani, thoughts?
I mean, bye. I just did not like her this last season, and I know she's friendly in real life. Ashley has met her twice, I think, and she's been lovely. But I don't know. That seems contrived to me. When you're at, like, for example, Ashley met Alexis at Tamara and Teddy's live podcast, and me, like, she's essentially working. You're not going to be an asshole to anyone that comes up to you at like a Bravo themed event. Likewise, at Kathy Hilton's Christmas party, you are kind of on, you're like networking, so I don't know if those are her true personalities in those instances. But I'm not sad. I'm not sad she's leaving. I think Tamara and her played it wrong. And I think they thought the audience would just like eat up the petty and the drama. And it just didn't go that way.
You know what I feel like she did? I think she did 2 things wrong. I think that she watched the videos from last year's DirecTV party, Kathy Hilton's DirecTV party with like Emily Simpson last year when Teddy Mellencamp was also doing the carpet. And I think at that DirecTV party, Emily Simpson was like, bring on Alexis Bellino. Let her, like, that's a fight that I want to see. That's the, trigger that I want to see. And I think that she was really, really gassed up. And I think that Tamara contributed to that. And she came in like, oh, I'm going to have an issue with you, but I'm not, but I'm going to, but I want to be friends with you, but I don't. Mm-hmm. And it was like the identity of her storyline. And I think what contributed to that was the fact that she had Shannon over here, but then she was in this relationship with John Jansen. And I really feel like he got in her head and tried to drive his own personal narratives through her. And then she, 1, is already going in gassed up against Shannon, and then 2, has these narratives that are being pushed in her head by her now fiance, and she's going like, she had no true identity. Nobody knows who Alexis Bellino outside of John and Shannon are.
Honestly, that's a really great point. I feel like she served 2 purposes this season, and neither were of her own volition. Number 1, she was John's mouthpiece, and he completely emotionally manipulated her and had her say exactly what he coached her to say, which as an audience, we kind of saw. And Shannon experienced and was like, Alexis, you are just regurgitating every single thing he's saying. Like, you are going to wake up and realize you have been played. So that's 1. And 2, she was used as collateral damage in the case of Tamara and Shannon. So like, Alexis simply was a vehicle to drive out other people's agendas towards Shannon, and it just did not work. And that's why she failed, because we had no connection to her, because we saw she was only being used by Tamara and she was being used by John. That's my opinion.
Well, and now, even though she's getting married to John, I wouldn't see where a natural place for her to be reintegrated back into the group where that would fall, because I think that Shannon is too prominent, and I don't think that Shannon is going to have anything to do with Alexis, especially after Alexis swore to expose everything that was true. And I think that she's problematic. I think that she's problematic for the network. It doesn't matter. We're not getting her back, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Before we move on from OC, I'm guessing Emily and Gina, because they've already kind of announced that they're coming back.
Yeah.
Tamara, Shannon, and Heather, because did you see the Kelly Dodd thing with Jeff Lewis talking about Heather Dubrow?
I didn't.
Oh my God.
I did not see that.
Wait 1 second. I have to pull it up for you.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I think the only interesting thing for me would be if John and Alexis split and then Alexis went back on the show. And this is messy and obviously like maybe not original, but if Shannon and Alexis kind of like buried the hatchet and had that like redemption arc, that might be interesting to watch. But otherwise, there's no space for Alexis.
No, and I think that the only other person, I think that Jennifer Pedranti will come back too, but I think I think the only other person who would be in question would be Katie Janela.
So you don't think she's coming back? There was a post that featured Shannon, Katie, and Jen. I don't know if you saw it, but I think Katie's caption was when life gives you 3 oranges or something. So obviously that could have been a play on Orange County, or was it kind of like a little teaser that she's coming back? I don't know.
No. So it's not that I don't think that I'm thinking that if anybody else would be cut, it would be her. But I think that, I really slept on Angie Katanavis from Salt Lake City on her first 2 seasons. And her 3rd season, she has been incredible. Mm-hmm. And I think that Katie Janela could also be that person who is that Angie Katanavis who like metamorphosizes out of their little cocoon.
I agree with that.
But this is why I know Heather was asked. Here we go.
Okay. Evolution. And they're like, oh my God, they're going to call me. They're calling me for traitors. Hello. And they're like, hey, it's Jen and Michael. Where in the world is Heather Dubrow? And I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to know? Like, huh? Heather? And I'm like, no, this is Kelly Dodd. And they're like, oh.
Wrong number. Yeah.
So apparently Heather Dubrow's coming back, y'all.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Heather's back. Okay, can I ask your opinion on that? Do you like I'm curious, do you think she like is an asset to them at this point?
See, I think that Heather Dubrow would be more of an asset on the Beverly Hills franchise.
I agree.
I think that I really, really like the idea of what they tried to do with Taylor Armstrong with doing a crossover, but I don't like who they chose for the crossover. A more natural crossover would, one, not be a housewife to a friend of. It would be a housewife to a housewife. Like if they brought Heather Dubrow from OC to Beverly Hills, she would not be a friend of. You know what I mean?
Right.
She would be a prominent, okay, look at my big mansion. It would be like the first crossover that would have made sense.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times they drop the ball on casting, stuff like that. I like the opulence that she brings and the fact that she's not relatable. I just think that she'd be better on a different cast, but I don't want to get rid of her. So if we only get her on Orange County, then I want to keep her.
Yeah, fair enough. I think she would, to your point, do so much better on Beverly Hills because to me, Beverly Hills is one of the few franchises where I just cannot relate to anyone on there, unfortunately. Yeah. Or OC seems a little like, okay, I might run in the same spaces at some point with some of you. But Beverly Hills just seems so aspirational, and I really love that about that franchise. So, yeah, but I'm neutral on Heather.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, she's going to be coming back for sure. Again, Katie Janela, if they put that post out there, I'm guessing everybody's coming back except for Alexis Bellino, and they'll probably introduce one new person. I think that they have a really strong, solid cast, but moving on.
I will say really quick.
Go ahead.
I rewatched OC and I stopped when it got to the most recent season. And the way I loved the Kelly Dodd seasons, that is just exquisite television. And it's so unfortunate that Kelly kind of took this route on social media because now like Bravo probably would not touch her with a 10-foot pole. And I think she kind of, I don't want to say she's misunderstood because I know she says what she means and she means what she says. But I think she like, I don't know, she doesn't do herself any favors, I guess is what I want to say.
She's definitely, Kelly is very boisterous. I'll never forget when I went to go interview her. I'll never forget. And I went to her house and I was terrified. I was like, I am walking into Kelly Dodd's. Like, I felt like I was going to walk into like a Batman lair, you know? Like,
yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but you know, no, I think that she's great. Let me see. Oh, this is what I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry, you guys. And this is total trigger warning, but I did want to ask Imani's opinion on this while we're on the West Coast.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So where are we at?
You know what? It appears we've all been hoodwinked by James Kennedy. It seems like there has been like an issue for many moons with James and just like all the allegations that were happening behind the scenes that none of us knew. And I don't know how to feel. I'm just disappointed because like I think a lot of us Vanderpump Rules watchers, we really rallied around James and we advocated for him and we wanted him to stay sober. Again, not speaking to him not being sober, but he kind of alluded to him breaking sobriety. So, I mean, we were all rooting for him with the information that we were given. But as things continue to evolve and more things come out, it seems like Bravo has known about James for a while. And it's just disappointing. That's a bummer.
Yeah. And I also feel like, you know, there was an article that was supposed to come out at one point, and I don't know if it was Vanity Fair or Variety or I don't know, or Rolling Stones, because Rolling Stone or Stones?
I think it's Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone. They came out with that article about Gary from Below Deck Sailing Yacht with the producers, remember?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to do that to like minimize things. I mean like
Yeah.
I don't know the actual, I know it was something about him being inappropriate and him being, basically it was multiple people and that they felt he should have been fired.
Yeah.
Which you should be. There was another article that was supposed to come out and it was going to be about James, and it was about the stuff that Kristen Doty went through, and it was something about a wedding. Somebody accused James. Do you remember the wedding where or the Sir parking lot where they were fighting?
Yeah, when Kristen slapped him, I think twice.
I think that there was footage that we didn't see.
Oh, okay. Was it?
But
Katie?
I'm not sure. It's a Kristen story. Okay. It's a Kristen story. But they were collecting information from Kristen. I don't know if Raquel was a part of this, and I think a few other people were a part of it. And then somehow the story got canned. Like it didn't come out. And a lot of people felt like it got canned because Kristen Doty would no longer be a part of the story because she was offered the Valley, and Bravo somehow leveraged like, well, if you want to be a part of the Valley, then you need to step away from this right now. Like Vanderpump Rules is doing really, really well. You don't get to do this story. She came out and said, nobody's going to silence her. That's not a true story. Bravo never silenced me. That never happened. I think he's a POS, but no, I wasn't a part of that. Like, where's your head at?
I think Kristen Doty is having the time, like she's in her prime. Like she's vindicated, she's married or getting married, she's pregnant, like, and now she's been like, hats off to Kristen Doty, you know? So that's where my head's there. Something does seem amiss here. Like I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel quite right. What about you?
With James?
Yeah.
You know, it's so weird, and it's almost like I'm afraid to say anything about it.
Okay.
Because I'm actually truly afraid of James. But the reason being, I've known James for over a decade, and he can be the most fun, the happiest guy, the biggest energy in the room. You know, like the music is playing. He's so like everything.
Yeah.
And he reminds me so much of my brother. I have a brother who has really, really bad bipolar, who he deals with it and he gets medication for it. And he could be the happiest guy on Christmas and then pick up the Christmas tree and throw it off the balcony. And like something just like got him and you don't know what it was. And you're like, oh man. And James, for some reason, sometimes I don't feel like he is at the level of my brother, but I do feel uncomfortable because I think like, oh man, I don't know emotionally where you're at right now. So when I see you, I'm like, hey buddy, I hope you're doing amazing. You know, like even I said this to Ashley and you when we were at Kathy's party. I walked up, I was talking to Olivia and Allie walked up and Allie said, hi Adam, how are you? And I said, oh, great to see you. Hi. You know, and like here came James and I said, James, good to see you, man. You're killing it with the DJ career. He started smiling, laughing. I didn't love the energy. So I said to Allie and Olivia, I said, you know, it was so great seeing you and I'll see you guys around. And Allie was like, I just walked up. And I was like, I know, but my friend's at the bar and like, I don't want to leave her by herself. So I'm going to get out of here. But guys, it was great seeing you. But like, it's because I'm legitimately like, it's not that I don't, do you call it being uncomfortable? I guess you're uncomfortable,
Yeah, you're
but
uncomfortable. beautiful. I think for me, James has just such a, I'm an energy person, and something about him just like disturbs me in the inside. I think he has like a dark energy about him. And I think if he's not in therapy, I would really, really recommend him to do that. I feel like he has some things he needs to work through. And I think he comes across very aggressive, very angry a lot of the times. And I think obviously alcohol exasperates that. But my thoughts are with Allie. I bet that's so scary. And I've never been in a situation where I've been with somebody who has hurt me in any way like that and struggles with alcohol. And, it's not easy for Allie just to get up and leave. Like I've heard people saying like, stop putting the blame on Allie. And I agree with that. So my thoughts are with her, and I hope that she's okay. And I hope James gets help sincerely. Because it's clear he needs it.
No, I agree. El Martinez, Adam, how can you be defending a woman basher trying to justify it as a mental disorder? Sheesh. I am not. I think also to piggyback off of what I was sitting here telling Imani before, I watched my mom multiple times with stepdads, just beat the hell out of her and do really, really awful things. And I don't want to sit there and say like, oh my God, it's something that's triggering that I have to walk away from. Because if I see something, I would say something. I didn't see anything. But if I feel an energy like that, I'm not going to defend it, but I'm also not going to put myself in the line of fire for it. I'm just I'm not in that relationship. I don't see you. We're not close like that. I don't have to be around you when I see you out and about. Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing amazing. My God. Yes. This place looks great. Mm-hmm. Have a great night. See you later. That I'm allowed to do that.
Oh, you're 100% allowed to do that.
Yeah. And also I don't, to be fair, defend I don't defend the bashing of a woman, but more importantly, I don't defend the bashing of anyone. That's why I don't like volatile, violent situations. I'm not a fighter. My brothers are fighters. Their way of communicating is okay, well, if you have a problem and I have a problem, let's walk outside. I'm going to punch you in the face and our problem is solved. They're such dudes where it's we will fight. And for me, I'm like, hey guys, so I think there's a conversation to be had here. And I think that we can really reason with one another. So do you want to start or do you want me to start? You know?
No, I received that. I get that. And I think you read the room, you're at a party. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And obviously I did, to be fair, I obviously read the room.
Exactly.
Didn't listen. Some other parts of the night might have been not me reading the room to the best of my ability. But that situation, I clearly read it for what it was. And intuition is a mother. You guys, intuition is everything. You have to trust your intuition. Because my intuition said no. And I was like, okay.
And you're right.
And when I talk to myself, I don't know how you guys go or how you address, however. But when I talk to myself, I say, self, hi. And I'm like, is this for us? And self always says yes or no. And this time it was no. And I said, self, thank you. And self said, that's right.
Well, so that was me last night in a way. Speaking of Kathy Hilton's Christmas party, one of the podcasters that were there talked about Kathy Hilton's party on his podcast. And he was just so perplexed and confused as to why there were so many bloggers that were at Kathy Hilton's Christmas party. And I really wanted to post on Taste of Reality story last night. And I wanted to be and yet we're all in the same room, because it's so, I cannot stand when big accounts or big personalities or whatever come for bloggers as if it's just this horrible word, because bloggers need reality stars and reality stars need bloggers. And this person.
Yeah, it's such a codependent relationship. One, that's especially because I know it's Nick Vile. It's
Vile.
Nick Vile I talked to at Kathy Hilton's party. And my thing is, the Bachelor Nation is the bottom of the barrel of the reality TV star. That and Dancing with the Stars, you guys. It's where the reality stars go to get born and die in the same season of their show normally. And for Nick Vile, he was able to take and branch off from Bachelor Nation And then from there, he created this podcast network, and he's killing it. Him and his wife were both super, super nice.
Cadoos.
But you guys kind of need us, just like we need them. And you're also not on reality TV. Right now, you are doing a podcast talking about all of these reality TV stars. So even though you were The Bachelor, it's like my husband was the star of Cirque du Soleil. You know what he is now? He's running multiple businesses. He's a businessman. Before he was a star, now he's a businessman. You were The Bachelor. Now you're a blogger. You're a podcaster. You're in the very same field that you were calling out. You have a different resume to back it up to sort of put you in that same, like, okay, well, I was on reality TV. I am equal to the reality TV stars, but I am now doing what you guys are doing. You're a liger. You're when a tiger and a lion has sex and it breeds a liger. You are a liger of a person. Sorry.
Exactly. No, so it just frustrates me when people act like they're too good for the bloggers or whatever. And I'm like, Nick, you literally got famous from what show? The Bachelor. Okay, great. So you are one of us. Welcome. You might have a super successful podcast, which is good for you, but for you to turn your nose up at there's so many bloggers at Kathy Hilton's party. This is so weird. Is it weird? Because this is a networking event. I'm confused.
Well, I'm trying to think. There was Steve from Faces by Bravo, who he's not a blogger, but he does.
Well, what is a blogger, by the way?
I guess you.
So we're scum. We're scumbags. Ashley, we're scumbags. We're bloggers.
I mean, but I guess I'm like a blogger too. I talk about the stories and then add my input into short form content. That's what I do on YouTube. So like when you guys post stories, or if I see something on social media, I bring it up and I talk about the story. And then I'm like, this is my opinion. But then I also engage like the Addams family into that conversation and say like, what do you guys think? So I think that it's all different forms of the same thing. Like whether you put macadamia nuts, almonds, or sprinkles on a freaking cookie, it is a cookie. Okay. So there's different variations of it. And I think it's all the same thing.
I guess my question to Nick and people who hold the same philosophy is what happens when no one's reporting, and I'll use that word loosely because we're not CNN or Fox or whatever, but what happens when no one's reporting on the things that you're doing? You're a normal person. Like what? It's just so confusing to me. And Ashley brought up a good point. She said that we're all kind of coworkers in a way because they are, we'll take Nick out of this because he's not actively on a reality show, but for people, like Tamara and people on, the housewife shows, and we talk about what it is that they're talking about. And they, in my opinion, intentionally put stuff out there for us to pick up and for us to talk about. And then they're like, oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't say that. It's like, you did. This is a direct quote. And this is what we're talking about. And you want us to talk about it. Let's be real. And now I said it.
I don't think that you said anything wrong. I think that if anything, it's one of those, probably one of those moments where I think to myself, who do I ask? I ask Nick. And no, listen, you're not wrong. The guy was, he's super nice. He was on The Bachelor. You know what? I agreed with him when he just recently said, and I agreed with him to an extent. I don't fully believe everything that he said, but he was talking about James Kennedy and he said, fuck this piece of shit. I hope he never works again. Anybody who's ever going to put their hands on a woman, I hope that your whole world comes crumbling down. I hope you never work again. And I hope that like all of these great opportunities are taken away from you. So he was pretty just blunt about it. And I wasn't in the house. I didn't see what happened. I heard what happened. That's a harsh stance to take, but I do agree. If you do put your hands, if somebody, like me, if I were to pick up Allie or James is to pick up Allie, I could easily ragdoll Allie on.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm definitely stronger than that. It's not fair. And it would be awful of me. And I would, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't stand by that. So I did agree with what Nick Viall said.
Well, by the way, he didn't say anything groundbreaking or a hot take. That's just a basic human understanding that you should not hit another person that is a little bit not as strong as you. That's just
He like literally lost to you. You're like, no, by the way, that doesn't defend him. It's
No.
like, that's just basic common knowledge. Like,
No.
great. Wow. You have basic morals. Congratulations.
It's just like, wow, should we applaud a duck for swimming? Congratulations. You hold a good opinion on life. Yay. I'm glad for Natalie. Like, I don't know. And clearly, I don't want to say he struck a nerve, but like, it's just something I'm passionate about. Is like, we work so hard in this space, and to be reduced down to just like a blogger at a party, I'm like, okay,
But
well,
why is that? You know what? I want to normalize this really quick, because I think that it used to be like the term gay, like you're so gay. It used to be used as like a derogatory term, and it's not. You know, like you being a blogger, you sitting and you are literally writing pieces about the gossip and the things that everybody wants to know about, which essentially could be a blog. It's a website and it has stories. And that's not a derogatory term. You know what I mean? Like people are reading it. People wake up. They look forward to it. They look forward to the live discussions. They look forward to, in a different format, which is the exact same thing that he is doing, listening to the blog, which is the podcast, and like waking up and listening to it on their way to work. It's just different forms of the same thing. It's not, I just don't understand why it's used as such a derogatory term when it is not.
Yeah, well, here's an example, and this isn't necessarily my story, but I don't know if you follow or keep up with Real Moms of Bravo on Instagram. So they told this story about Kate Chastain. And I think they have some sort of connection with some of the Southern Charm folks. I'm not quite sure, or Southern Hospitality. I'm not sure, but they were, I think, in Charleston. And I want to say like Leva invited them somewhere and they were sitting with Leva, whatever. It might not have even been Leva. I might be misremembering the story. But at the end of the day, Kate Chastain was there and she was sitting at the table of Real Moms of Bravo being invited, and Kate was going out of her way to like not look at them, like not engage with them, not talk to them. And then finally she's like, oh, I don't take pictures with bloggers. Like I don't interact with bloggers. And so I'm just like,
that's so funny, because when I went to Teddy and Tamra's party at the NBC party in Vegas, which I had to ask ahead of time because we were there with Caroline Stanberry. I messaged Tamra. I said, can I come to your party? And I said, I know Teddy hates me. Tamra lived for it, because the minute that Teddy came out, she was like, Teddy, Adam, Teddy. Like she lived for the drama.
Yeah.
There goes Teddy. But I was walking past and somebody grabs my arm and I look over and it was Kate Chastain. And she goes, Up and Adam. And I said, hi. And I said, wait, you know my YouTube? And she's like, yeah, my God. And I said, wow, that's really sweet. And I said, I love you and Hannah. And she's like, Hannah? And I was like, yeah, I love Hannah. Yeah. And then I just kept walking, and then I was doing shots with the Gorgas. But it's weird to me that she would treat somebody like that when that wasn't my experience with her.
I was shocked because, and again, this isn't my story. I'm just repeating what Real Moms of Bravo posted. I think it was during Miami's Fan Fest. Like they went there and they were posting about it to their stories. Because Kate was there. So they kind of like called back to that interaction with her. And that really bummed me out because I was like, oh man, like Kate seems like such a chill girl. So it's really shocking that she wouldn't want to like fraternize with the help, essentially was kind of how it was, the context of it. But my thing is like, they're clearly friends with your friends. They're not like out filming you doing things, you know, it's just human interaction. It's just talking with people at a table that you're at. So I don't know, you know,
I wonder if, well, and here's the other thing too, is, you know, Bravo moms are watching.
No, it's Real Moms of Bravo, which by the way, love their account. They're so great.
Real Moms of Bravo. So there's so many, and that's not, by the way, that's not being disrespectful, because I probably met her and I was hit on the head with the 13-pound door hinge, you guys. So I always defend myself with that. I was like conked on the head. The memory is not so great. But in my experience, I have multiple times gone out with people or Bravo people, whether it's after an event or after BravoCon, and I've sat at a table and been like, oh my God, how are you? And the person across the table who's on the show has looked at me and said, what? Like, why do you give a shit how I am? Do you know the last time that I saw you, you said this about me? And I'd be like, wait, what? Did I? Oh my God. So I'm wondering if maybe Kate knew, because
Sure.
the people who are being talked about, they remember it more clearly. They remember who the people, like, it's like they're the ones who are impacted by it. Sometimes, even for me going on here, like I'll talk about Teddy or something because I think something's stupid and I'm going to forget it by tomorrow. But then if you're the one who's being talked about and you're hearing these things about you, it might stand with you or stay with you for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I think it's like one of those things where I always tell people, I'm like, there are people who I clearly align with or people I always will vouch for. Kyle Richards is one of them. That's not to say that like every single thing Kyle Richards does, I'm going to be like, yes, queen, like killed it. Like I have critiques of her performance on Beverly Hills, but like I should be able to say that in a respectful way and still like know that I'm like one of your, I don't know, fans. I don't know if that's the correct word, but you know what I mean? Like you can still like somebody and hold them accountable for things that you see. And I think that's a real fan, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And not everybody has to be a yes man either.
Yeah,
But,
enough of those.
well, I wanted to bring this up to you too, because Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, we saw this week where Bronwyn Newport, I don't know how much you guys have been paying attention, but she has the Todd father. Okay. And she revealed this week that there was some sort of infidelity. Now, she went on Watch What Happens Live, and I personally think that she got reamed for sharing this. I think that she did damage control on Watch What Happens Live and said that it was a few text messages that had an emotional component to it. There was nothing physical. Lisa Barlow said he's like hedge funding right now. He's the head of like these major businesses and different partners who are not going to work with or want to work with somebody who has that sort of negative press. So did she do damage control? Maybe.
Well, I feel like, and again, I applaud Bronwyn for being so like vulnerable on the cruise thing that they were on, but it seemed like a very misplaced story. Like it seemed like she just like word vomited all these things that were going on with her, and it didn't quite make sense in the moment. And I did feel for her because Lisa and Meredith had a kind of like not a reaction that I would suspect from someone who like just vented and is crying and visibly upset. So they were rather guarded with that information, but the information was just so out of place. But I did appreciate Heather Gay in that moment defending Bronwyn and Todd because she hasn't had it the best at it this season, I don't think, Heather. So that was like one of the more humiliating, not humiliating.
Yeah, but Heather is, oh God, you and Ashley.
What?
I feel like you guys are some serious Heather stans.
I'm not a Heather stan.
Oh, you're not?
No, I like Heather the earlier seasons. Right now, she's completely lost me. But maybe Ashley's a Heather stan. I'm not quite sure, actually.
Ashley might be a Heather stan. Maybe that's where I got that from. But Heather, you know, like defending Bronwyn in the moment for being vulnerable and being like, no, like I was in a relationship like that where like the guy can do no wrong. And it's like, as long as he's not watching PORN, which I can't say on here because it's YouTube, or cheating or whatever, then, oh my God, I should be so grateful. And I feel like that's where she's at. And this made me feel closer to her. And then cue over to the after show where she's like, then you have Heather who's like, actually, like, I think she threw her husband under the bus, and I think it was messed up. And I think that is not unity, and that is not holy matrimony, and that is some shit. And I don't co-sign on it. And I think Bronwyn is an asshole. And that's kind of where it went.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on this because, in my opinion, if Bronwyn has no desire to leave her husband, I don't know that I would go out of my way to share that story on the show. But at the same time, I'm one of the people that are constantly pleading, be honest, be real, share what's going on. So, like, if that is going on, she's absolutely understanding the assignment. But my thing is, like, okay, so, but also I'm not going to flame my husband on TV and not leave him. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth. I think she should be honest and she should be real. But, like, also, if you're going to stay with him, it's awkward for Todd now because now we all have this idea of who Todd is.
Well, also, if Todd comes back to you and says, oh my God, that's so crazy, that YSL jacket that you had for 15 grand.
Exactly.
No, those are the businesses that I'm doing that you just hindered with this story, because now these partners don't want to deal with me. So now I'm not making that money. So now thank you for sharing that. You're cut off.
Exactly. I would have taken the Dorit Kemsley approach this whole time and just, kept it cute. And then a couple seasons later, then you go through that storyline of, we're separating, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't appreciate Heather walking it back on the after show though.
Did you, by the way, and I agree, did you see that Dorit Kemsley is supposed to be announcing a divorce like in the next month or so?
I didn't see that.
I'm curious if that's a real report.
Well, I'm so curious by that too, because I think Kyle said on Watch What Happens Live this week that because Andy was like, so are you and Mo getting a divorce? Like, what's happening there? She was just like, we haven't talked about it, not at all. And I'm like, I'm not in that space. I'm not someone who was married and is separated, but wouldn't divorce be a conversation? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't understand either girl saying like, oh, we're just separated, but we haven't spoken about divorce yet. To me, that seems like the next plausible step.
I mean, yeah. And speaking of divorce and all of that, I know that you guys remember Nikita Khan, who was Mauricio's girlfriend that we saw at the Mykonos airport and also in Mexico. She recently just spoke to Page Six and said that she broke up with him because she wanted a real relationship and she wanted a commitment and she wanted all of the things. And he said, no, I've been stuck with this woman for 20 plus years and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Now he has a 33-year-old girl named Claudia Kay, who's an Instagram model who he's running around with in Aspen. So listen, Mo's just living his best life.
He's living his best life. But I mean, on the show, this might have changed, but Kyle hadn't even been to his condo. He allegedly...
No, it hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed? Okay.
No.
Took down the photo of them. Like, to me, I would just get a divorce. Your children are older now. I mean, Portia's like 16. So like, granted, she's still the youngest one, but your daughters have eyes. They're on Instagram. They see their dad. I'm sure they know their dad's hijinks. Like, just divorce at this point.
Do you know what the name of the owner of Barstool Sports is?
Dave Portnoy?
Yeah. Portnoy?
Yeah, Dave Portnoy.
Yeah, Dave Portnoy. So he recently did an interview and his ex-wife was there with him when he started the company. Or I don't even think that they're exes. I think that they're still married and they haven't been together for a long time, but she has full access to all of the money. And in the interview, they asked him like, why? And he's like, well, because she was here when I started the company. And also she is very financially frugal. And if she needs something, I want her to be able to have it.
Okay.
And if there was some crazy, like $20 million purchase, yeah, we would have a bigger conversation. But right now, like, no, this is good. And for Kyle and Mauricio, Kyle, technically, if she had any financial worries, she is entitled to half of that company. And that's a massive company.
Yeah.
It's not like a company that you're going to throw away so your spouse doesn't get half. Like the company has over 100 different locations.
Yeah. No, the agency, yeah, they're killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it. So do you think that's what it is? Do you think she's just staying legally married in terms of for like asset purposes, or?
I think that she thinks that she wants to be with Morgan Wade, but I wonder if it was almost like a midlife crisis,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if she actually wants to be with her family and she wants like kind of that, but she was bored and she only knew that, like sometimes Jason and I have had this conversation before. I met Jason when I was 20 years old and I never had like this adult, like going out and being like a reckless,
right,
like dating person. And I never wanted to, and I still don't want to. But then Jason used to say to me when I was younger, like, well, one day when we're like 50, 60, watch, you're going to be like, okay, well, I want to go explore things. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But maybe that's what happened with Kyle, where she did want to do that and she wanted to explore. And now maybe Mauricio got a taste of like these younger girls who do want to explore Mauricio. And maybe he's like, it is what it is. What am I supposed to say?
Yeah. I don't know.
You know?
I still can't figure out you know what? You know how they say, like, before you die, you can, like, if you could ask a couple questions, some people are like, I want to know who killed John Bonet. I want to know, did Morgan and Kyle actually have a relationship? And it's not for me to know. I don't want, that's her journey, but I just want to know. I'm like,
I think they did. I think it's just one of those things that she wants to keep to herself. But I think it's like, it's one of those, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck.
right.
It's a freaking duck.
Yeah.
I think we got a duck right in front of us. It's a mother ducker.
Yeah. I'm just like, there's absolutely no way you guys did not have an emotional relationship at best, like, it's just, you spend so much time with someone, and I don't know, it just, maybe one day she'll reveal what their relationship was, but she doesn't know it to us. But inquiring minds want to know.
We want to know. Speaking of which, a lot of people have been asking Andy Cohen, and this is our last topic of the day, you guys, but I am curious. A lot of people have been asking Andy Cohen about the return of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, when we're going to get it. And he recently sat down with Us Weekly and he said, stop asking me. I don't want to be asked anymore. Stop asking me. It's going to come out sometime in 2026 when I know you guys will know. Stop asking. What are your thoughts?
I think New Jersey is such a hard thing to touch because the fans of New Jersey especially are vicious. Like, anytime Ashley and I post, like, even anything about Teresa, like, people blow us up on Twitter, all these things. And so I think we still need a little bit more time to, like, diffuse the situation. And I just want to know, like, can Teresa and Melissa film together? I just don't know what they can do at this point to save the show.
Yeah.
What about you?
Do you think that maybe they're trying to diffuse it so they can get to a point where the ladies can actually film the show?
I think it would be interesting to me as a viewer if Melissa and Teresa could work it out.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that would be good TV. And to see them as an alliance would be everything.
Yeah.
I think it would be good. But I don't know if they're cooling off toward one another, because when Melissa came out with those sprinkle cookies,
yeah,
Teresa tweeted, "You're welcome." So
I know.
So I don't know that that'll be thawing anytime soon.
That damn Teresa.
I know.
Aye.
What do you think is going to happen with Jersey?
I think that honestly that they're probably going to do. I think it would be fun to do a Melissa Teresa, like, give them enough time to cool off where we can bring them back together if they were both within the understanding that they could try to work some things out. If not, if I have to choose between Teresa and Melissa, I don't know. I love Melissa comes with Joe.
I think a show could be made around Melissa, Rachel. Like, I like that dynamic, I think. I think they could do something there, but it would essentially be cleaning house. I would get rid of Jennifer Aiden. I don't know. Like, I think you could build a show around Danielle, Rachel, and Melissa. I genuinely think you could. What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know. This is tough for Bravo. This is a huge, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like Margaret too. I don't know. Like, I also like Dolores. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want them to throw in, like, Danielle Jonas, because I know they're, like, friendly in that.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yes, I want Danielle Jonas on the Real Housewives of New York. Or I'm sorry, New Jersey, because Kevin has been on the show as a contractor to someone. I can't remember who. But yeah, I kind of want to, like, bring in Snooki or someone from Jersey on the show. Like, and I know they are friendly, so I would be interested in seeing Ashley's daughter. I'm sorry, not Ashley. Jacqueline's daughter, Ashley Maleo.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just think
you had me at Snooki and Danielle Jonas.
Yes, let's get Danielle Jonas on the show. That is what
that would be a good one. That would be good casting.
Yeah, and she's Italian, like, and her sisters are very, like, that's an Italian family. I was obsessed with Jonas back in the day. There was, like, a show, I think it was on E. It was with Danielle and Kevin. I don't know if you watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think it'd be really interesting to have like a Real Housewives in Nashville. There's so many like people that live there that would be really interesting also that I'm shocked Bravo hasn't tapped into.
My God.
Yeah.
We have options.
There's a lot of options. So I'd be really interested to see. Like Jana Kramer's over in Nashville and she's always in the news. Jesse James Decker, Kristen Bristow, like Caitlin Bristow. Like there's so many reality / like not necessarily like A-list people, but people who like still would like a paycheck that I think would be interested in doing that show.
Like, well, in Nashville, I don't even think it'd be like the Real Housewives. I think it'd be like the real like country wives or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something. And that's just like such an untapped market. And I know people are longing for like a void for Dallas, which I think they could revigorate, honestly. And so that would kind of liven it up a little bit, appeal to like a younger gen also. So I don't know, something to think about.
Something to think about. Well, if they don't know, Imani, will you let them know where they can find you?
You can find us on tasteofreality.com. It is a really poppin' happening place. So we've talked about Alexis today, some Mo news, and then this is a really fun spot. It's our live discussions. And so every night when a popular show is on, we have a little space where people can come and talk amongst themselves, pretty much like what Adam and I are doing right now, just to shoot the breeze when you're watching the show. Get into it with other viewers. So that's a really popular place on our website. And so we encourage you to go there, build community. So that's our website. It's tasteofreality.com. If there's anything that we're not covering that you guys want us to cover, please let us know. We're definitely looking to, give you guys the content you want to see. And then here's our Instagram. We just hit 71.5 today. Yay. And then, this is our page. We cover all the things, Bravo, reality TV, pop culture, etc. So give us a follow over there. We're on the road to 100K, which is super exciting. So we're just checking along. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, definitely go to tasteofreality.com. Join in on the live discussions. It's Friday. It's the weekend before Christmas. We have 3 weeks off from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's a bummer.
3 weeks off. And, I know that Ashley said this is one of the slower times of the year, but I disagree. There's over 150 Bravo celebrities, and a lot of them get wasted and they fight with their spouses and they get DUIs and they get divorces and shit hits the fan, and we'll be right here to talk about it. So
yes, we will.
Keep an eye out for tasteofreality.com and also Up and Adam channel 1 and 2. And before you guys end up going to, I wanted to make sure that you guys know I'm going to be announcing this week. We have, I think, 10 more to go before we hit it, but go to theblowcompany.com. This is Jason and I's new CBD company. We're going to be playing with the site a little bit, but it's the best, you guys. I love the product. It took us over 1.5 years, but if you go to our products, you can see the Blow to Go, where it's the 2-pack gummies, then also the duo pack, and we have the individual jars as well. But you can click on the sign up for 15% off your first order, give your first name and your email. Once we hit the first 100 customers, which I think we're almost there, if not after this live, we're going to pick a lucky customer to go to roseforever.com and choose whichever bouquet that they'd like. And those range from like 150 to 1,000. So yeah, check them out.
Also, that's an amazing thing to do for the holidays when all your family is in town and you just need to mellow out. Go to Blow.
Oh my God. You have no idea. It's when I say it's my favorite, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually my favorite. But Imani, thank you so much. I appreciate the hell out of you, and we'll see you over at Taste of Reality.
Thank you, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all of your Adams family. Thanks for accepting Ashley and I over here. We have so much fun on the show with Adam. And Adam, we just adore you, of course.
Thanks, Imani. Well, you're always welcome.